I come from a troubled past, the mind of a double standard. I write with the other hand, you might misunderstand them. Just take a closer look, you can see the bread upon us. I make history for a living, men of honor.
Good morning. Welcome back, you guys, to another episode at The Boat Perspective. Today, we have a special guest in the house. And today we're honored to welcome an extraordinary woman whose resilience and courage illuminates a path through hardship. A Black mother who has faced unimaginable challenges. She was wrongfully charged and convicted for a crime she did not commit. Her story is one of strength, perseverance, and unwavering commitment to her family and community. She has fought against injustice, rebuilt her life, and now shares her insight to help others navigate the complexities of the justice system and the impact on families. Please join me in welcoming Tangie Norris Grant. Did I get it correct?
Just like Tangie.
Tangela. Okay, that's good. Tangie. Welcome, Tangie. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good.
It's good to see you after a long time.
Yes.
Now, I've always wanted to, share this. I wanted you to get the opportunity to share it because I could only imagine the type of trials it brought you to go through. Right now, I've been in the system as well, and I'm familiar with how that goes. But when the minute you told me about your situation, I was like, I gotta be on here. And I wanted you to kind of tell your story. So I just have a few questions that I want to ask, and I want to allow you to kind of walk us through your experience from beginning to now.
Okay.
That's okay, right? First question I want to ask you is, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what it was like before this challenge began for you?
I was brought up in a single family home, just my mom in the house. I was raised in church, so they say the church kid is always the bad kid.
Yeah, sure.
That wasn't my case.
Church kid got a name for themselves.
Right. But I did, as a teen, become rebellious and, wanted to hang with the in crowd because I felt I was so sheltered being a church kid.
Okay.
So when I got out there, I was wild.
Of course, because you obviously was held back.
Yes.
You couldn't do certain things.
Right.
And that type of restriction creates intense desire to just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so let me ask you, what kept you hopeful during difficult times at that time?
Because the seed had already been planted of God, and so I knew that it was always God's hand on my life. So it was when I wanted and when I was doing these things, I was never content or comfortable because you always have that conviction that kind of draws you back to.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 23, 24.
That was when you had the mindset of where you was already going? Or?
Well, no. During that time, I was going through a divorce, a separation, I'll say, in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. So I kind of turned my belief and my faith kind of wavered during that time. And so I allowed the enemy to come in and entice me of, man, this over here is better than what you experienced, and this over here can, So I got into a homosexual relationship. with the woman
Okay.
when all of this happened.
Let's go back, right? Like, what was it like in your home as a child growing up?
Very loving. Like I said, God was the center of everything. I went to private schools. So again, it was I felt sheltered. I was sheltered a lot.
So would you say you was somewhat curious about what was going on outside?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got you.
Absolutely.
What about mom and dad? They was both there? Or
No, just my mom. My dad, he was in and out per se. He was a truck driver, so we stayed in Houston. He resided in Beaumont. So it was like, well, I'm gonna come pick you up, wouldn't show up. So it was when he would show up, it wasn't, well, I'm gonna take you, and then when he would pick me up, he would get drunk, so it was really no time being spent between the two.
Do you have other siblings?
I have 2 other siblings that we share the same father.
Yes.
So, and then they're so much younger than I am. We're like 15, 16 year difference.
It was
Age gap, yeah.
Man, did you have brothers and sisters?
One sister and one brother from my father.
So, it's safe to say you didn't develop these type of curiosities from something you've seen at home.
No.
For some reason, a lot of times it'll take one experience for somebody to see something,
Mm-hmm.
Be curious about. And I ain't gonna lie, it's something that I myself have become aware of as a parent because, you got things like porn and stuff like that. If you have gay porn,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to expose a teenage boy to the wrong type of content,
Mm-hmm.
it could screw them up. You know what I'm saying? To make it could have 2 effects. They could either be curious or they could go all the way.
Right.
So that's just the reason why I asked you that. But so you were born and raised in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go anywhere else for your younger childhood, or
As far as what?
like did you visit out of state? Like did you travel anywhere?
Not really. Chicago, because that's where my mom's side. That's where my mom's from and her people.
Okay. And how was that up there? How was the experience?
It was okay. I mean, I really don't have any real recollection of it because I was so young. Yeah.
How old were you by this time when you visited?
Probably 9.
Oh,
10.
super young.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you really don't know.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been to Chicago, but I've heard it's slightly similar to Jersey, but it's different too. It's weird, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine that it's a lot of similarities with the weather and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward, how was your experience as a mother? How did it influence the way you navigated through the justice system in this case?
Whew. It was very, very challenging. Very challenging. My mom and my grandmother were a great support system and team for me. During that time, my mother stepped in, took my 3 babies, raised them, took care of them, and right before I was accused, my father had passed 2 years prior, and it was a wrongful death case that I had going for him. So right when this happened, the company, because he worked for a trucking company, they wanted to settle out of court.
Yeah.
So They took advantage of that, of course, because, oh, well, she's locked up, so let's just give her pennies because how's she going to fight? So they gave me the minimal amount. So what I did was I just signed the whole check over to my mom and was like, take care of my babies. Let it stretch as far as it'll go. Because, I mean, and honestly speaking, it was $20,000. That's not really enough to support 3 kids. You know, then they had given me a sentence of 6 years. So it's like, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my mom, she stepped in. She would bring them to visit me regularly. I was trying to still parent from behind bars. You know, I made sure that I wrote them, you know, all the time. When I say often, I mean often. I would send home packages for them, candy, chips with a card, you know, in there. I had 3 yellow manila envelopes going out at least once or twice a week for my children. So it, you know, the most you really can't do much as a parent being behind bars when you have small children. And I think at the time they were 2, 7, and 9 at the time. So they were still young. Yeah.
So, yeah, I could only imagine, especially like the 9-year-old, was that a girl or
boy,
how he was processing it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you could feel the effects of it that it had on him, or did it not affect him?
I think it affected all of them. The 2-year-old was still fairly small.
Yeah.
So it was just like, where's my mom?
Yeah.
You know? But when my mom stepped in, and she had always been close to my children anyway, so it wasn't like, who is this lady? You know, like, those were my mom's grandkids. Yeah. Like, she's a hands-on nana.
So she was close.
Yeah. She was very close with them anyway. So it's kind of like the transition with the 2-year-old was just, you know. Now my daughter, which was 7 at the time, it was very hard for her because she and I were like this. Very, very close. She was attached to my hip. You know, so to the point to where even now she's still in therapy.
Right now.
Yeah. Because it kind of like mentally did something to her. Because at the time, like I said, the 7 and the 9-year-old, they were at that understanding to where they knew what was going on and was like, oh, Mom, you didn't do it. Like, why did this girl lie on you? Like, she wasn't here, you know? So it was kind of like, in their minds, like, what? You know, like, it goes to, did Mommy just abandon us? Like, she didn't want us? Or just, you know what I'm saying? At 7 and 9, you can't really wrap your mind around what exactly is going on.
Man, you know what's crazy about what you're saying? I go through that now because I can completely relate. There's times when I'm here, and he's 11 now, Brandon's 11, and he's gone, and it's like I'm trying to communicate with him telepathically. It's like I'm talking to God, but I'm hoping I'm talking to my son. And I'm explaining these things to him, like, and I'm in tears because I could only imagine the type of emotion this would stir, right? The type of question that he has that I want to answer, but I can't. And so it's painful, right? So I totally get it. The thing is, what do you do? What do you do when your only form of communication is a phone call? In my case, I didn't have money on books and stuff like that. This stuff will break you apart. You know what I mean? So I would imagine that you had to have a strong relationship with God this entire time, right? You know, things like visitation is hell. You know, they got it's a process. You see them from behind this wall. It breaks your heart. It's breaking. It's a lot of emotion that you have to unpack. I'm speaking because I know I've been there. You know what I mean? Now, I thank God that I wasn't there as long as you were, right? But I know that I just imagine that 6 years is a long time. You know what I'm saying? Were there any conjugal visits? No. Mm-mm. The entire time, it just was a lot to see them. Mm-hmm. Did it limit you because of the nature of the case from your ability to touch them? Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was one time that, and I knew that God had set it up because they had moved me to another unit. And I guess the paperwork or whatever hadn't caught up, but my mom came to see me with my babies, and they let us sit outside. And so I was so happy, and I was just like, oh my God, like that was my first time hugging them, holding them, and just being able to physically touch them. Yes. But it broke me down though. It broke me down because my baby, like I said, when I left, he was 2. So my mom was sitting on one side, I was sitting on the other side, and my babies were sitting there. So I was trying to hold my baby boy. And so he said, I want to go sit with Nana. Like he didn't even want to sit with me, like just for a little bit. And then I want to go sit with Nana. And I was like, oh my God. So my first thought was, man, when I get home, I got so much work to do. Yes, because at this point, he's like, Nana is all I know. Because mind you, I've only been in his life 2 years.
Yeah, so you really hadn't got the time. Unfortunately, it's like you was cheated out of some time. And man, I know how this feels because my thing is I'm big on time now. Like I can't get it back. When you lose it, you can't get it back, right? So you savor every moment. And you know, when you're young, you think you're about to be out here forever, right? But it's not till you cross over your 30s and stuff like you start to realize stuff.
Yes.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've had this happen, and only thing you have time to do while you're having this visit is hug them. It's like you ain't got too much to say. Sometimes you don't even have the words.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Just let me know how much. Let them know how much you love them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you, what else can you say at this time? It's almost embarrassing to try to share a bunch of information in that moment, right? I don't know if there's a prayer team that's available because that's the only thing that can hold you together. You know what I mean? I want to ask you, how did you find strength to respond?
To respond to the allegations?
Yes, to the allegations.
Brand, I really didn't. The strength came from, I was out on bond for a whole year. When the charges came, they came, arrested me. I bonded out. I was out on bond for a whole year. Now, my co-defendant went to trial a year prior to me.
Where were you when they arrested you?
I was at home. And so, I was out on bond. So, after the interrogation, let's go there. After the interrogation, and the detective came in very arrogant, very belligerent, of course, and asked me, how would you feel if I told you that this little girl is saying that you and her mother kidnapped her and sexually assaulted her? And I said, what? And he said, what would you say? And I said, I wouldn't say anything. I said, because that didn't happen. So he slams the envelope on the table and goes, well, that's what the little girl is saying. And I said, nah. I said, you're not going to sit here and tell me that. And he said, that's what I'm telling you. And that's what you all are being charged with. So I said, we're being charged with it. And he said, well, this is the build of the case. So I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I could not wrap my mind around that.
Using disbelief.
Yeah, I was like, this is a joke. Like, come on with the real stuff. Like, I don't have time to play these games. Come on with it. So he says, well, we're still building the case and yada, yada, yada. I'm just letting you know what the little girl is saying. So I'm like, okay. So I said, are you arresting me? Am I free to go? What? And he said, you're free to go. He said, but do not run and make sure you answer every call and da, da, da. So I said, no problem. So I was getting ready to walk out of the door and I turned around and I said, can I ask you a question? He said, yes. I said, are y'all going to do a proper investigation? And he was like, we sure are. And I said, okay. That was all I needed to hear. Excuse me. At that moment, I thought, I'm good. As long as they do a proper investigation, I am good. I didn't have no worries. I walked out of there just like, I was not worried at all.
Yeah. So you know you didn't.
Because I know I didn't do it. So the strength came from me believing in the justice system.
Which is sometimes the worst thing to do.
Had I known, I would have lawyered up right then and there.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, the justice system, they got it.
Is guilty to prove innocent here?
No.
It's,
Obviously not.
Oh.
It's your
Yeah, it's guilty, yeah.
Until you
you gotta prove yourself.
But the thing is how do you prove it? Because this happened, these allegations came in 2004. 2004. We're in 2025. Do you know how long I have been fighting this?
Of course.
If you don't have $80,000 or $100,000 just laying around,
they don't want to hear.
Man, they don't want to hear none of that. They don't want to hear none of that.
And obviously, people who can't afford the $80,000 is not just easy to just pull out something while you have kids to take care of and family. And then it's sad because there's no statute of limitation on this case, right? These type of cases. Mm-hmm. So you in here, at this point, you in disbelief because you're assuming by the time they investigate, they have nothing that they can
right,
and you have a chance to win. It's sad. I've been there too. Fighting 20 years once upon a time with zero evidence in the file jacket, and they're telling me that's where they started. It's 20 years, and it's based on my priors. It's not even based on. But anyway, what was the moment like when you realized you was wrongfully accused on this judge? What was that?
It was embarrassment. It was hurt. It was anger. It was so many different emotions.
Confused and everything.
So many different emotions. So many ups, downs. Because when you hear it, you're just like, even I can remember standing in court when the jury came back with the verdict.
Yeah.
And when the judge read it and said, we hereby, the jury sentenced you to 6 years in Texas Department of Corrections, it was like nobody else was in the room. It was like I was just blanked out, couldn't wrap my mind around everything that was going on. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So you really you can't even process it until like months later. Because even when they took me in custody after trial, I still couldn't process it. Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
And it's like something that you're just, at that moment, you're numb.
In disbelief. This is crazy. All right. So when you after you got the sentence, obviously they detained you, took you away, right? It has to be. How long was it for you? Because I know when you're in there, you have nothing else but to process this piece by piece, right? How long was that process before you decide you do? Because it's a process of disbelief and grief that you go through before you even get the goal to stand up and be like, you know what, I gotta fight. Or was you already in fight mode at default?
Yeah, I was already. Yeah, I was. I was born to fight. You hear me?
So
yeah.
So you wasn't about to just lay down.
No, I wasn't. And it was like all I could think about was my babies. That's all I could think about. You know what I'm saying? So when after the trial, my lawyer was like, "We're gonna appeal it." I didn't even really know too much about what an appeal was. I didn't know about any of the things that was going on within the judicial system. Nothing. So I just knew, like, it was kind of like, okay, I know that an appeal is probably something that they, it's another chance of me, getting out.
Yeah, to give you a chance to, state your case on your side of the story.
Right, again. Yeah. So to me, it's BS. You know what I'm saying?
So who was about, you saying weeks or months before that hit you? Or
I don't know, Brian, because it's like it all happened. It just happened. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, because, you have so much to process. You have so much that you're talking about a week or so of hearing You're talking about people that was surprise witnesses. That you're like, who is this person? What? You don't know me? You what? So you're processing all of these things. You're processing that your judge that was supposed to be there was not there.
So you feel like they intentionally switched the judge?
I know that they did because the judge sat in my co-defendant's trial. And she knew that it was a lie. So she didn't want to sit at my trial because she had taken that oath. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. When I saw my co-defendant on the news, tears just started streaming down my face when I saw that they gave her 25 years for a crime that never even took place. That's when I got scared. Because I was like, well, wait a minute. They found her guilty. I'm her co-defendant. I know she's innocent. I know I'm innocent. And they just gave this lady 25 years for a crime that never even took place. That's when I got worried and nervous, scared, all of the above.
Of course.
So the next day, I had called the courthouse because I was calling my attorney. He would return my phone calls. I called the courthouse and I asked for the attorney. But check this out. When the phone got answered, I said, who am I speaking with? Because I thought her name was Holly, which is the court coordinator.
Right.
So I said, is this Holly? She said, no, it isn't. She said, who am I speaking with? And I said, this is Tangie. She said, hi, Tangie. How are you? And I said, who am I speaking with? She said, this is Judge Keto.
She called you directly.
So you're telling me that a person because human nature, we are judgmental people.
Of course. Yeah.
So you're telling me that I'm in your courtroom. I have a case in your court. When I call, you're so compassionate towards me. When I hung up with her, my attorney called me within 5 minutes and said, don't call the courtroom looking for me. I got your messages. I was going to call you back. Because you know why? She called him and got on him. That's when he called me.
And this was a public defender. Yeah, they were working together, obviously.
But the thing, my point is, Judge Keel already knew that the case was bogus. She knew. That's why she didn't sit in my trial, because she had already sat in my co-defendant's trial. So I had to sit in, fill in judge, because she already knew. And so she knew also, if this ever comes out, I don't want to be held liable, because I heard the first trial and now I'm going to hear hers. And why didn't I interject and say, well, that's not what I heard at the first trial? As to why, right now, at this very moment, my new lawyer team can't get the transcripts from the courthouse because they're lost.
They can't. You're saying they can't get the transcripts?
Yeah, they lost them.
Oh, they lost them.
Lost them. And you know why? Because they can't compare the first trial to my trial. Because what are you going to compare it to? Mine are gone. How do you lose a whole jury trial transcript? How?
It's insane. It's insane, but it's crazy because it's set up. First of all, did you have any priors?
I have one prior, and it was a misdemeanor shoplifting.
Oh, okay.
Like years before.
Do you think they tried to tie the two? Or they would?
They didn't even bring it up. It wasn't even brought up.
Because a lot of times, in my case, that's basically what happened. My charges was far and few in between, but for some reason, just because I had it, they started me at 20 years. Yeah. So, what I wanted to ask you, that your co-defendant who got sentenced to the 25, did that stick, or did she get a lesser sentence?
No, that's the.
She's there right now?
No, she got out. She's on parole right now. She's on parole. But see, the same with her, she got 25 because she had priors. But all of her priors were dope charges. Drug convictions.
Oh, okay. What was her ethnic background? Was she black?
Mm-hmm. Black.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at this point, what role did community play in your case? Like mentors, supporters? Was there anybody that journeyed through this with you?
Just my mom and my grandmother were my biggest supporters. They were my biggest supporters. And Brand, since you've known me, I've been so honest, so real. And I try to maintain that's who I am.
Of course.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
And I was hurt. I was angry. All these things, like I said earlier, right?
Of course.
Because here it is, a church that I grew up in, right? Where
Got you. One second. I knew this was good. This is something that I wanted to take my time with, so I really wanted you to just express every emotion.
oh,
Get on your heart.
so the church where we grew up in, that I grew up in, where my mother gave tithes, offering, all of those things, right? Church that we started going to when I was 5 years old. A money-making church. During this time, I asked for support.
Of course.
nobody ever showed up. However, if it would have been somebody that was on the pulpit or somebody that was close to the pastor or whatever, I know that the outcome would have been different. And when I say the outcome meaning, I know that they would have shown up. I'm talking about shown up. And I felt alone. I felt like I didn't have that support that I know that they could have been.
Of course.
You know? And when people see that, it's like, well, ain't nobody even here to support her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they're not even moved to support themselves. Yeah, you know.
So my mom and my grandmother, they showed up a lot. My grandmother, not so much at court because she was, older, but my mom, she was there. She was there.
Let me ask you something, right? And I don't want to it's not to throw shade on the church, but is it still up and running today? Is it okay for you to share the name of the church?
I'm not going to do that because my mom still attends there.
I got you. Yeah, because, this happened a few times, right? And at this time, you're very vulnerable. So you're really crying out for some sort of moral support, right? Mm-hmm. And you almost could guarantee in your mind, you're like, one place I know I could go is these people, they're going to show up. The feeling you get when they don't is probably something disturbing.
Very, very, very. But not to even mention, and I know I'm going a little off topic a little bit, but when I came home, I voiced how I felt to one of the pastors. Okay. And I voiced it to him on Messenger. So that Sunday, I went to church, and he told the head pastor what I had said. Which anything that I say once, I can repeat it. I'm not afraid to.
Yeah, of course.
But I reached out to you because I felt more comfortable.
Right.
I can confide in you. That Sunday, I went to church. The head pastor from the pulpit throws so much shade at me and says, you want to know why we weren't there for you? We were there in spirit. Looks dead at me. And then, scoundrels around the crowd, you want to know why we weren't there for you? We were there in spirit. We were praying for you. What? Like, don't throw stones from the pulpit. You know what I'm saying? You could have easily said, tell her I want to talk to her after service Sunday. But you stood in that pulpit and you threw stones to where it was me, my 3 children. By this time, they're bigger now. I looked down, I said, let's go. I didn't lower my tone or nothing. The way I'm talking to you is how I told them, let's go. We got up and we walked out. I said, you don't get an opportunity to write in front of, right. But the thing is that he didn't think nobody knew what was going on or what was being said because he knew it was for me, just for me. So nobody else knew what was going on. But he said that to let me know, I know what you said. And it was kind of like a defense mode. I've seen my mom give so much to this church to where you're giving so much. And it's like, our lights are about to be cut off. But he has lights.
Of course, yeah. This is so heartbreaking.
So, no, I didn't have the support that I felt like I should have had with the upbringing that I had.
Yeah. Do you feel like at this point, do you feel like this was a test directly from God, or you just feel like this was an unfortunate situation that just happened to you?
I feel like it was because of me, my choices, my disobedience to God, that He allowed me to go through what I went through.
Man, it's funny. I can relate to everything, every step of this that you, because I remember one time I was in there and I was facing the 20 years, and I, like you, I didn't have any paid attorney. I couldn't afford an attorney. They were stiff on the 20 years the entire time I was there, right? And there's one point, my mom, she's just like you, the only person that's, and something about her moral support meant everything to me. So, and I love her to this day for that, right? She doesn't have much resources, but she'll show up. She gonna pray. She's strong, and she gonna fight for her child, right? Well, I admire to this day about her. But I remember getting a visit from Jolanda Jones. She's from Third Ward, right? And obviously, Jolanda was doing her job. At the time, I was at the top floor because I had the green band on, so I couldn't even work. And it was like I was in there to face each day face to face. It was stiff, right? So I got an opportunity. My mom got in contact with Jolanda. She got her to come up there and visit me. And when she came and sat, at this time I'm vulnerable, so I'm just pouring out because I'm hoping somebody understand and would take my case. When she told me straight up, she said, well, just to even look at your case, we're gonna need $10,000. I mean, at that point, I was broken, you know what I mean? Because I knew I didn't have it. My mom didn't have it. She's doing the best she could. What I realized when I was going through this, and this is where I took myself out of the situation, is the effect that it had on her and anybody else outside. It's something about you as a loved one coming to visit another loved one behind bars. It's extremely emotionally draining. It's like, I hate to see you like this. I don't know what they're doing to you here. Let me ask you, do you want to share some of the experiences you had in there while you were in there?
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's probably extreme.
Yeah, because when I first got locked up, when they sentenced me to 6 years, like I said, that's why I said I had so many different emotions. Anger was like the top one though. I was mad at everybody. Like, you look at me the wrong way. What you want to do? You want to fight?
Oh, you son.
Yeah. I was good. Yeah. I was just angry. I was mad at God. I was angry with God. I was angry with the girl, with her dad, with my co-defendant, like everybody. I was just angry. And I started lashing out. I had so many fights that were not even called for. Like, I would pick fights.
So you were squabbling them.
Yeah. I was just picking fights just because I was so angry, and I just
of course, you need an outlet.
Yes. So they moved me around so much because of the fights. Till finally, I ended up in SEG because I stayed in county 2 years on the appeal until they denied it, and then that's when they shot me off to TDC. So I was there in county in SEG. So one experience that I had, right? It was an officer who, very handsome, very attractive. When he would work our pod, the girls, for some reason, would go put on lipstick and, just going crazy. You know, last thing I'm thinking about is a relationship in here. You know,
Like trying to get that.
yeah, I'm good. So he's trying to figure out this black girl over here is the only one when I work this pod that's not giving me the attention that these other women are giving me.
Of course. Yeah.
So I go to visitation one day. My mom, my babies come to see me.
Yeah.
And so with this girl in there that loved me. And I had started doing Bible studies.
Okay, gotcha.
So it was like 5 or 6 young girls. And they were, Miss Tangie, we're going to do Bible study today. So I'm like, yeah. So one of the girls, he called out while I was on visitation. And he tells her, you need to watch the company you keep. And she's like, what you mean? You need to watch the company you keep. He types in my case online and turns the computer around and lets her read it. So
She's an inmate?
She's an inmate.
Oh.
She's an inmate. Yeah. So I come back from visitation and she's just like real distant, which I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. So I go back to my cell because, I'm in protective custody, so everybody has their own cells.
The same one that loved you.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I go back to my cell, so I'm just, replaying the visit and, just thinking about my babies and, So the next day, she comes and she taps on my window. So I said, what's up, Bria? She said, Miss Hinch, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah. She comes in. She says, yesterday when you went on visit, Officer Smith showed me your case on the computer. So I was like, what? She said, and I didn't know how to bring it to you.
Yeah.
She said, it was kind of like she had to process it.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She had to.
It back to you.
Yeah. So she was like, but I don't believe it. And I don't see that in you. So I said, well, thank you for letting me know. I said, we don't have to do Bible studies no more. Just leave it.
Yes.
At this point.
It'd be embarrassing at this
point. So he comes to work that night. So I push my button. And so he's like, yeah. And I said, can you call Rank for me, please? He goes, for what? And I said, I just want to talk to Rank. And he says, about what? They're going to ask me what you need. And I said, well, I don't want to discuss it with you. I said, I want to talk to Rank. So he goes,
which is your right?
Uh-huh. So he goes, come out here right quick. So he rolls my door. I go out. And he goes, what's going on, Rochelle? So I said, you let somebody read my case yesterday? I said, and you don't even know my story. I said, you don't even know that everything that you've read and everything you let her read was a whole lie. I said, none of it is true because it never even happened. I said, but the thing is that this can happen to anybody. I said, you can be sitting at home, get a knock on your front door, and they're telling you, put your hands behind your back for a crime that you didn't do and a crime that didn't even happen. I said, I could see if the crime happened and you're like, well, I wasn't there. This never even took place. This took place in somebody's brain. There was no evidence. There was nothing. They went on hearsay and they call it an outcry. So if there's no evidence or anything, it doesn't matter. But because somebody said it is what got me a 6-year sentence.
Crazy. Yeah.
He says, all right. And I say, you gonna call Rank? Yeah. He never called Rank. But the most profound thing that I told him, and that I know that it was profound, is when I told him, excuse me, this can happen to anybody, even you.
Now, I know there's another part to that story we're gonna get to. I wanted to ask you, at this point, because first of all, there's 2 years in the county is stiff, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're not getting to go outside, obviously.
None of that.
Did you get a wreck?
No.
No wreck.
No.
Bro, let me tell you something. 2 years in the county with no wreck, and you gotta face a bunch of your peers in close quarters. I don't know how your female pod is set up, but the male pod is, it's like 6 dudes in a tank. You know what I mean? Like, there's two, actually, it's 2 bunks, it's 4 bunks. Then it's another 4 right next to you. Now, 1 toilet, all that stuff, you're caged up. Is that the same setup? Or you had individual?
Well, in GP, in general population, it is. You have about 25 bunks, and then you have like a set of toilets, maybe like 5 or 6 toilets, and then on this side, and then on this side are like 3 showers. That's in general population. Now, I was in general population when I first got locked up.
Yeah.
And then they moved me to protective custody because of my crime.
Of course.
So in protective custody, it's single man cells, top floor, first floor, second floor. And then there's, you have toilets in your cell. And then there's 1 shower, like right by the door that you go in and out.
Okay, so in general population, you guys was basically, where you use the restroom, it's another inmate could be right next to you. Crazy. Did you ever did you ever have to be assigned to solitary confinement or anything?
When I was in protective custody, and when I started doing all that fighting, it's only 2 sides to protective custody. So I was already on one side, had a fight. They moved me to the other side, had 2 or 3 fights on that side. So in the middle of the night, they came, pack your stuff. You just can't be here no more. So that's when they took me to solitary, and that's where I did the rest of my year.
A year in cop and stuff?
But Brad, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. That was the best year that I had been there.
Okay.
Because I was by myself. My toilet, my shower was in my cell. Oh. They brought me a TV. They brought my commissary to my door. When it was time for me to use the phone, they rolled the phone to my door. They slid the newspaper under the door. I was like, man, I'm good. I don't even want to be around nobody anyway. Okay. So I'm good. So to me, I took that as God is still taking care of me.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It took a few fights to get here.
But yeah. Because see, the reason why I said that is because I was in solitary confinement when I was in the county, and that wasn't good. There wasn't no food being rolled to you. There wasn't no toilet in there. There wasn't no shower in there. They put you in a room. It's dark. It's a hole in the floor where you use the restroom.
Come on.
There's nobody to talk to. It's just you in there. And the way they slide the food to you, you don't even see the guard. It just comes under the door. It was the worst experience I ever had. And literally, if you were to spend too much time in there, you start to lose the same. So you have to now pray that God keeps you strong. Yeah. That's why I asked you, because I wanted to know what the experience was like. But thank God he covered you. You know what I'm saying? Solitary confinement could be hell for some of the guys or some of the inmates. You know what I mean? But anyway, before we go forward, how did being a Black woman shape your interaction with law enforcement, with the courtroom, and what changes would you like to see in those institutions?
My perspective on law enforcement is
I know it's gotta be.
I was gonna say it's gonna sound real bad,
no,
but
give it to us straight.
I have no respect.
No respect, of course,
for them.
Yeah,
None. you know, because I just feel like there's no respect given, and it does matter about your skin color.
Of course, it does.
You know, it matters about your if you have money or if you don't have money.
Yeah.
All of that plays a major
part. Yeah, and to me, that's not going to stand by the code of being just in the system. It's bias. You know? But go ahead.
So yeah, I don't respect law enforcement. I have to register every year as a sex offender.
Oh my God.
And I have one officer, Officer Davis, that has treated me like a human being.
It's a big deal.
That treats me like, I'm talking about when I go in annually, this man talks to me about his family, about, it's like we've been knowing each other. Like, I'm not even here to register. You know, I could be sitting out in the waiting area for him, and I just got there. There's people there before me. When he comes out, he like, Tangie, come on. Like, I get to y'all, but the favor, it's favor.
Yeah, of course, it's favor. And I'm telling you, it's something that God will show up for you for, especially if He knows that you're innocent.
Every time, Brand. Every single time. Yesterday I was thinking about, God, my story is still being written. And I don't understand the whys behind it.
Yeah.
Because I know that my end goal is to help youth that have been troubled. My goal is to help women that are getting out of prison that have either been falsely accused of crimes or even they were misguided throughout life that even did stuff. But my goal is to help them. So yesterday I was sitting and I was like, what is the purpose? What is the plan? Because my case has yet to be overturned. So where do I go? What do I? And I'm like, God, why me? Why did you allow this to happen to me? Man, Brandon, when I tell you, I got it. When I tell you I got such a profound and powerful word from somebody that said, why not you? It happened to Joseph in the Bible. It happened to Joseph. So why not you? Man, I couldn't do nothing but just sit. That was like a blow. Do you hear me? It was like a blow. Like, you know what? You're right. You're right. Even though my story is still being written, I believe this is the first step of my case being overturned. Yeah. It's a process, but yet it's like there's certain processes you have to go through. Of course, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is my first, because when you asked me years ago, Tangie, do a podcast, and I was like, but you know, it came from a place of embarrassment. Yeah. It came from a place of being judged, because again, we as humans, we're quick to judge.
Of course. You
know, without knowing the story.
Of course.
And at the moment, don't want to really hear the story.
Of course, they wouldn't even give you a chance to state your case, to be honest with you. It's crazy because when I've gone through trials, you know, similar to this, I mean, at the point I'm vulnerable, I'm really trying to figure out, like you say, I've been there to that point where I'm asking God, what is my purpose?
Yes.
I've been weathering this storm, in my case, over a decade now. What are you saving me for? What type of
Right?
what warrants this type of challenge? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I mean, and my thing is, I've known you, so I know the type of person you are. It's really a shot at character, and it's like a devastating blow at character.
Yes.
And sometimes one that a lot of us would not be able to recover from. It's so it hits here for me because it's like all we got is our name. All you got.
That's right.
We wasn't born with no silver spoon.
That's right.
All we got is this name that we have been, forced to stand on, and they shoot it down. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody tell you, why not you? That's
right.
I think that's the craziest thing, Tej. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I wanna take this time to, for anybody that's listening to the story Tangie is sharing. I know there's got to be somebody that will be able to hear this and be like, you know what? I want to support you. Because I would imagine, like, at this point, we're older. We probably start to calculate menopause, all kinds of stuff. You start to trying to figure out, what am I doing here from this point? Now, I know you had shared with me an experience you had with a job lately. You wanna touch on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us what happened with the job.
So, working at a dealership in accounts payable, and so one of the ladies there trained me when I first started. She trained me, Caucasian lady,
Of course.
and so I guess she felt intimidated because, okay, well, here it is, this black woman is coming in, background of office management. A position is about to become open for office management. So it's really out of me and her who's going to get the position. So now you have created like this hostility between us for no reason. Like, you're doing your job, I'm doing mine. I'm asking you simple questions about, well, hey, should I do this? Or what happens here? And, because you're the one that trained me. So I'm still, asking little questions. So one day, I go outside to go smoke, come back in, and my boss is sitting at her desk. So the door is like right here. My boss's desk is like right here. So when I come in, I can see everything that my boss is doing at her desk. So she's online looking up sex offenders. So I'm like, Naturally, I'm already like, she's looking me up.
So wait, so when you walked in, the computer is facing you.
The computer's facing the door.
Oh, so you could just see exactly.
I can see exactly what she's looking at.
And she had just started her position when you was applying for yours.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. This is the office manager.
Oh, okay.
But the office manager and the girl that trained me are like this.
Oh, they're close.
They're real close.
Okay.
So the girl that trained me, Christina, she had already told me when I first started that her last position, I'm a big researcher. My last job at the dealership, I looked this girl up and I got her fired. She had 4 felonies. And I'm like, what business is that? Was that of yours? If HR ain't stop her at the door, why are you trying to stop her at the door?
Investigate.
Yeah, you don't even know people's stories though. So, I had an issue with Christina that morning. So, I waited for the big boss to get there. I asked her, I said, hey, Diana, is it okay if I talk to you? She was like, yeah, Tangie, come in. So I said, it's about Jamie, which is the office manager. So she said, yeah. She said, well, let's call Jamie in here too. So I said, okay. Because my issue wasn't even with Christina, the girl that trained me at that moment.
Yeah.
It was with the office manager.
Of course, yeah.
So the office manager comes in there, and so, I say exactly what I'm feeling, what I saw, and how I didn't appreciate it, yada, yada, yada. So she says, well, I'm not a messy person, and da-da-da-da. The fence just
Of course.
came. So I'm like, so at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to just let her talk because I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You can pretend, baby,
She's trying to impress HR. Of course.
I already know what you're doing.
Yeah,
so I'm going to just sit back. I'm going to let you guide us.
Let her hang herself, basically.
So Diana said, so we eventually got on Christina, the one that trained me.
Yeah.
So she said, I've had multiple conversations with her. So what we're going to do, she said, well, how about this? How about you and Christina, y'all go in the conference room and y'all hash it out. She said, are you okay with that? She said, and talk like adults and just tell her what your issues are. Da, da, da. So I said, I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. She said, nobody in there but the two of you. I said, okay. She said, well, we're going to call Christina in here and let her know what's going to happen. When she comes out, then y'all go in the conference room. I said, okay, cool. I leave out. Christina goes in. Christina goes in. Christina goes in. She's in there for a few minutes. She comes out, grabs her phone, and goes back in there. They close the door. So I'm like, I'm watching the whole play, and I'm already knowing what's going on. She went in there to get her phone, to pull up my case, to show the higher-ups, all them, da-da-da. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I know they are not about to do what I think they're about to do. So I'm waiting. I'm like, it's just like a little inkling of hope that somebody calls me in there and says, hey, Tangie, this is what we found. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm aware and I'm woke enough to know this is the first time that this has happened. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where people are judging me. So, boom. They come out. So, Christina passes by my desk. So, I'm like, okay. Because initially, me and Christina were supposed to go in the conference room and talk about it. But Christina walked right past me, didn't say nothing. So, I go in Diana's office and said, she don't want to talk. Or she said, well, they're doing something, but we'll call you in here in a few minutes. Yeah. I said, okay. Yeah. A few minutes came. Tangie, I go in there. We've decided to part. We are going to part ways with you. And I said, okay.
Yeah, you already.
I already knew. And so, to me, it was like happening all over again. Mm-hmm. It's like the feelings, the emotions, the embarrassment, the rejection, all of these feelings I'm having all over again, being judged without even knowing my story. So you got me fired because you pulled me up online and then brought it to somebody else when I've already underwent a background check, drug screen. I got hired. So what business was it of yours to look me up and then to go to the extent of you felt uncomfortable with me being there?
Yeah. It's a foul thing. It's Philandro could still have the same issue, like, where he was shot by the officer in front of his girl and his daughter, all because the officer said he was unfair. It was like, Philandro could still clearly abided by every step that he needed to let the officer know that he was a licensed carrier, and still in all, he shot him. It's the most awful thing. I don't know what they call this that these people do, but there's got to be a name for it. What I don't understand is, how do you apply for work?
You just got to keep pushing, Brian. I mean, whoever calls, and I feel like, with the jobs, it's like, whoever wants me, I want them back.
Of course, you have to.
You have to.
Yeah, you don't have no choice. You're trying to go where you're accepted at this point because the odds are against you. But I always was curious about how does that application. Apparently, as an adult, you gotta be completely transparent about that.
You're right.
Because I've been fired from a few jobs before, and it's all because of my background. But you know, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a point where I wouldn't put it down because I was embarrassed. I did that before, but then I quickly learned it doesn't make no sense. You're gonna get fired in 30 days.
Right.
You might as well tell
and I do. I've put, I'm not gonna go into details unless you ask me. But if it's on there, have you ever been, convicted of a felony or whatever? Yes. I'll put yes. And sometimes I've left it blank.
Of course.
Because at this point, that's your job. If you're gonna do the background check, do the background check. But one thing that I'm not gonna do is say no, because, and one thing I also know from working in HR is that they only can go back 7 years.
Okay, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So if you decide to go back even further than that, then you're violating the law. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Which I feel like they do, because they feel like their thing is, I gotta find something. Yeah. I gotta know. Yeah, I gotta know. I don't know how far getting your record sealed and stuff like that sticks, but the odds is against us. It's just a sad thing. This is just the nature. This is not, we're not advocating for saying anybody is racist. This is just the nature of the odds, right? So, but I would imagine that your skin gotta be thicker than a mug at this point, because it was really strong, but it's like. So let's say let's go there. Like, how do you feel now? How do you feel stronger, or do you still feel, obviously still broken, but do you feel any form of strength?
I know that I'm strong. I know that I'm resilient, and you're right. I have always been a strong person. I've always had a strong will, strong character. Ask my mama. She quick to say, "Girl." But I do feel like this has made me stronger, even though even the strongest of people sometimes just want to be weak.
Of course, you want to be vulnerable.
Yes. And it's like, but you don't even trust anybody with your vulnerability to just lay it all out and be like, what you see is what you get. Here I am, and just cry on somebody's shoulder, because in the back of your mind, you're like, they're gonna use this against me one day.
Yeah.
They're putting all this ammunition in their back pocket for when something happens, they're gonna boom, 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 boom. So it's hard to just be like, here's all of me.
Oh man. So let's. I know that you got married, right? How long now have you been married?
4 years.
I'm pretty sure your husband now supports you. Hasn't been like a support system for you?
Yeah. So I met my husband 25 years ago.
Okay.
And we dated 25 years ago. Long time ago. And so it's like it came back full circle, right? So when we crossed paths again, and I had told him, hey, this is what happened, Yeah. And he was like, man, I do not believe that. He was like, at all. Because when me and my husband dated 25 years ago, he had a little boy. I used to babysit his son, and he was a single dad, raising his son. And so when I told him, what happened, he was like, man, that is crazy. He said, I don't believe that. He said, when you were telling me the story, he was like, is she telling me about her, or is she telling me about somebody else? He said, because it was hard for me to even wrap my mind around, these were your charges? Like, nah, that's not who you are as a person. He was like, and several people have told me this, if somebody would have came up to me and said, man, Tangie went to prison for beating up somebody, Man, Tangie went to prison for murder. We could have believed that one versus Tangie sexually assaulted a kid.
It's normally it's not our thing unless it's some sort of mental challenge.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But typically, it's just not the thing we do.
And especially Brand, with women.
Of course, yeah, especially
with
it's true.
women.
It's true.
It's like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
So my children have been in my home all this time, but yet I'm gonna watch somebody else sexually assault their own child, and my kids are in the home. Man, stop playing with me.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. Yeah, because at this point, the objective is to defamate character.
Yes.
That's really the goal.
Yes.
Right? After your release, what has helped you rebuild your life? What barriers remain that your activities addressing for yourself and for children? You know what I mean?
Read the first part again.
Okay. After you being released, right? What helped you rebuild your life? Let's just start with that.
Okay. My faith helped me rebuild my life. I got out and I was so amped up about the fight and trying to clear my name that you don't think about all the doors that are going to be shut in your face. You're just thinking, when I get home, I'm going to continue to fight my case, and we're going to get this case overturned, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, but you never have it in your mind that there's going to be a whole bunch of no's.
Of course.
And a whole bunch of doors slammed.
And being prejudged.
And being yes.
I've seen this too. When people are incarcerated, sometimes jail somewhat preserves time for them. Like it just preserves. Do you feel like it preserved you?
I do. I feel like your time when you get locked up, say that you're 25, your life stops at 25.
That's crazy.
And it's mental.
Mental, yeah.
It's mental. Because even when I came home, it was not like a light switch for me
to turn back on.
So I was hardened, even towards family, to where my mom brought it to my attention. She said, "You're not in prison anymore." She said, "We love you. We're your family." But I was hard up, very hard up, because in prison, I got to watch my back. I got to make sure that I'm good. I got to make sure I'm not befriending somebody, and then in my sleep, they the ones standing over me stabbing me. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's not a light switch. Okay, I'm home now. You know what I'm saying? It's mental.
It definitely comes with a psychological effect, because I remember my experience day for day to this day. And my last issue was 2013. So, and I think it's safe to say I'm traumatized to this day. Not because of the experience more or less, but because of the fact that you can get charged with something you didn't do and be put away for years, even though you're innocent. I think that does something to you on the inside that can devastate your world. And it's like, if you don't have like a strong sense of spiritual connection with God, you can fall apart, right? This thing is so heartfelt that I'm living in this with you, so it's just, I don't want you to feel at all alone. And, it's good because God put people in your space that can relate, even though it might be few, right? It's somebody that can relate. So, and that sense of being able to relate is where your strength might come from. Because had you been facing this alone, I think it would be way worse. It could be
Absolutely.
Dark, right? Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the devil just some thoughts that he had a few times.
Yeah.
I it's like I want to initiate some sort of prayer, but I'm pretty sure that people that's listening that a prayer warrior that they would be willing to intercede, and I would encourage it because it's the only thing that could carry you through this type of thing.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't matter that it happened in 2004. You face it right now, and not to be too biblical, but the Bible says better to have a good name than great riches, right? I shared Matthew 5 with you because I felt like that was what you needed to see, right? Matthew 5 and Psalm 37 was two scriptures to this day that got me through those issues in court. It's powerful, trust me. I done had a trial. I done had to stand up in trial with a public defender and be the case. I know what you go through, right? And my prayer is that I know God's going to cover you, but I want to speak on open doors for you, open doors that will change your life. But it's still saying, Tangie, I have a purpose for you. That would be my prayer for you because, the level of endurance that you have to have for all of these years, I from 2004 to now, how much? Over 50.
Yeah, 2011 to 2025, because that's when I came home.
Okay.
In 20, but yeah, that's 19 years from 2004.
In 19 years, it could shatter your whole life. I just when these things happen, I just know that there has to be something tremendous at the end of this.
Absolutely.
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 There's no way you just did this for nothing.
But Brent, that just goes to, when you said that, it makes me feel like it's like a movie that you watched and it's so good. And then it's 10 minutes left and then you turn it off.
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
Man, you hear me?
Yeah.
So it's like, I gotta keep pushing. I gotta keep pushing because I know at the end, it's going to be a great reward. And again, I don't know why this story was even written this way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you're younger, you don't picture your life on being in prison. No. Especially for something you didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you have you can't help but wonder, what's the end? What is the end going to look like?
Yeah, because the thing I realize in life is, and it hurts, I'm not going to lie to you, that you went through hell and then you died. That to me is, I would almost rather not exist. Because that's, it's like, purpose means a lot to us. What we're here for. So I would rather not see none of this than to come here and go through hell and then be put in a box. You know what I mean? So it's thought provoking. But the next question I want to ask is, if you could share a message with other women who've been wrongfully accused, you know what I mean? And been systematic obstacles, what would it be?
My message would be, don't give up. You gotta keep fighting. Yeah. You gotta keep fighting because it's never easy. It's never easy. And from experience, I know that the reward is going to be great. And I have unwavering faith. And that's what you gotta have. It's unwavering faith. Even when it looks like, when all those people said no, when all those doors were closed in my face, I still fought. To the point to where I could have laid down and just been like, you know what, this is just, and it almost took me out. It almost took me out to where when the alleged victim called my phone a year after I got home. The girl called my phone a year after I had got home. In 2012 is when she called. January 2012 is when she called. I didn't know who the call was. My oldest son had just got home from school, and he's sitting just like you and I are. We were sitting at the table. I was asking him about his day, all this. My phone rings. I look down. It's a number I don't know. I don't recognize. So I answered, and I said, hello. She said, hi, am I speaking with Tangie? And I said, who's speaking? She said, Antonisha.
You know her name?
Yeah. It was my co-defendant's daughter. So I mouthed to my son, go get my iPad and hurry up. He runs to the room, grabs my iPad, he brings it back. I put it on speaker and I push record on the iPad. Because, baby, you won't ever get me like that again. Put it down. She's apologetic. I know I can't get your time back. I need my mother, and I don't have her. I have a daughter, and I'm pregnant again, and I need my mother. Everything that I said and did was because of my father. Yada, 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 right? At that moment, I wanted to eat her alive.
Still.
I wanted to eat her alive.
For sure.
And I said, you know what? I forgave you. I've forgiven your father. Because God tells me, in order to be forgiven, I have to forgive. I said, but you've taken a lot from me, not just me, but my family. What you said, what you did, didn't just hurt me, but it indirectly hurt my family as well. She apologized, friend, and said, I know that I can't get your time back. I know this. But I'm willing to talk to whoever you need me to talk to clear your name. I said, I appreciate that. So, I ended the call. I was so excited because I have a confession on this iPad. I have a confession that's going to change my life, that's going to exonerate. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's And this is the part where I say that had it not been for God's strength, I could have just laid it flat down. So I contacted the Innocence Project and let them know that, because I had already contacted them when I first came home. They sent me a letter back saying, there's nothing that we can do. There's no new evidence in the case. So I'm like, okay, cool. After I got this confession on the iPad, I immediately wrote them back. Hey, I have evidence. The alleged victim is on this iPad, apologizing, saying that this didn't happen, that she was coerced by her father. All of these things. So they're like, okay, good. We'll take the case. I'm so happy. I'm just overjoyed. My case is finally about to be overturned. All of these things. So by the Innocence Project being a nonprofit, it takes a while for them to, they have millions of cases and all these things. So I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. So this lady reaches out to me and she's like, hey, your file came, to my desk. I'm going to be the one handling your case. And this is like maybe 4 years later. So I'm like, okay, good. And I'm just so excited, everything. So, now mind you, when I first came home, technology and all this was like brand spanking new to me, right? So on the iPad, it's just like an iPhone. We need to key in, you know what I'm saying? So, hadn't used the iPad in forever because now I've advanced with, a different iPad and, but I still have this iPad. So it's an older version model, whatever. So I put it to the side, but I'm never going to get rid of it because there's important life and death in this iPad.
It's like
so I'm never getting rid of this. So the lady contacts me, tells me, where can we download the evidence and da-da-da. So I'm like, okay, well, how do I do that? Let's get it done. So I get the iPad, charge it up. I'm tapping on it. No. I'm like, dang, what's the password to it? Yeah.
Tell me it didn't lock up on you.
So at the time, my mom worked with at an engineering firm. So I said, Mama, I need you to take this iPad to one of those engineers and ask them to unlock it. I said, I have this girl on here and the Innocence Project is ready for me. And we got to present this new evidence to them. She takes it to work with her. She brings it back. She said, they opened it. I'm like, oh my God. I go in. They done erased everything. Everything is gone. It's like a brand new iPad. I then take it to Apple. I said, can y'all please? I said, this is life or death. I need this iPad open. I said, I need it restored. I need the data restored. I said, there's a memo, voice memo on here that I need. The man said, do you have the email address? And I'm giving him the email address. He's like, no, it's not that one. I'm like, oh my God. I could not, for the life of me, think of the email address I used, the password that I used, nothing to recover that iPad.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's amazing how the information that you could use in the time when you really need it, it's just like, man, it's absent because now, like you had that information on that iPad, and I'm just giving you a free game here at this point. There's a thing called screen recorder on this phone. You could literally record it, whatever you see on there, it's this button right here. That would record whatever was going on that pad. It would have been right here. And it would have been worth it because you would have had the voice note somewhere.
But you got to remember, like, I've been home a year.
Okay.
So I have this Apple product that I'm not even familiar with on how to use it. Yeah. And then the phone I have is a little bitty, smartphone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not even familiar with how technology or anything is working these days. So I didn't even have an iPhone. It was like a regular, probably a Walmart little cheap phone or something. You know what I'm saying? But I still to this day have that iPad, never getting rid of it until and I'm like, it's amazing how I watch these documentaries of, these murder crimes and all this. And I'm like, man, technology has increased so much that you try to delete something off your phone, guess what? They can go back and get it.
Yeah, they could go back and get it. That's
they can go back and get it.
The only thing is, like, because they try to stipulate, like, who can get access to the information. And if in a case like this, it's against them, the chances of them trying to, cooperate to help you, in your aid, is slim to none. It's the hardest thing, because I've seen this happen a lot. But this is what makes me know for sure that your experience, God already has control of it, right? You gotta know that, though. It's like you, because none of these things make sense. It just doesn't add up. And like I said, I've walked the same road, and it's just like, people would be like, well, why you didn't do this? I couldn't.
Right.
I was literally tied here. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a spiritual battle that you can't explain to the average person. They won't get it. Unless, of course, you have a relationship with God.
That's right.
So this is mind blowing to me, but it's good because it's a lot of us that we don't know going through this type of situation. And I just feel like it's absolutely crucial that people know your story. It's no way I could not let you share this. This has been on my mind for years.
I know.
And I was like, bro, no way, because I know for sure somebody out there could benefit from this, right? But we're gonna wrap it up. We're getting ready to wrap it up. I have two more questions, Tangie. What policies, practices, or resources do you think would help prevent wrongful convictions? Do you have any?
I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting.
Yeah.
So, to be able to answer that, there needs to be an outcome.
An end result.
An end result. And when that end result comes, we can do a part 2. We can have part 2. Because right now,
still in the field.
You're right.
I'm still in the field.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
so you still got to keep these on and, keep your hand and your head ready. All right. Support. Now, so I guess it would be the same answer. You wouldn't have an answer for other Black mothers that might be going through the same thing yet because you're still waiting for an outcome. That's understandable. Okay. Looking ahead, what are your hopes for your family?
My hopes for my family is I thank God every day for my family, because even with what we've all gone through since 2004, I have 3 children. My oldest is 29. My daughter is 27, and my baby is 23.
Yeah.
And I feel like they have become young men and a young lady that has excelled me. And without taking credit, because I can't take any credit, I feel like this has shaped them into the young adults that they've become. Now, the 23-year-old, he's still trying to figure it out and find his way. But I can say that he's not out there. You know what I'm saying? He does his stuff now. Don't get it twisted.
Right. Of course.
But I feel that boy there has the fear of God in him. His brain is so big. so smart that sometimes to me, I'm like, you lack common sense because he is just hard to explain him.
Yeah. He's so smart that he's like, regular street smart.
Yeah, just common, logical sense.
It's possible. Yeah.
But he has to be challenged,
and
he loves a good old challenge. If it's easy, I don't want it. I can do that in a second. He was so challenged with a Rubik's Cube. For 3 days, he walked around the house trying to figure that Rubik's Cube out until he got it. He would not put it down until he got it.
Huh? Yeah.
But that oldest son, he has his own family. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren. He has a wife. He very adamant about this is what I want to do in life. He pursued it. He's a truck driver. He very yes. Okay. My daughter, she just graduated in May with her bachelor's degree, and she just signed up for a master's program. She's very passionate about what she does, and it's ABA, which is autistic children. She has 2 beautiful girls, and she's expecting another grandbaby for me. So I'm just like, man, God, thank you, because I know people that I was locked up with that had children that were out here wilding.
Yeah, of course.
That was out here wilding. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if my kids could have went in that same direction, because their father wasn't present while I was gone. Yeah. So it would have been easy for them to be like, Mom ain't here, Dad, he here, but he ain't here.
Now it's time to act out.
It's time to act out. You know what I'm saying? They're successful young people. The baby boy, he's on his way. And I wish nothing but success to all of the parents that have, men and women, that have gone through the system.
Of course, yeah.
That their children, because it's a lot of broken homes due to, yes. So just imagine your home being broken for a crime that was never even committed.
It's a different kind of oppression. It's different. And it definitely has a devastating effect on the kids because they're suffering with you. Like,
yes.
And it's crazy because I was once that type of son where watching my mom go through what she went through, it was like a direct, indirect kind of impact on me.
Exactly.
And it hurt like it was me.
Yep.
And that type of, I have an emotional draining feeling to it, you know what I mean? So I look at your kids and I ain't gonna lie, they look amazing to me. Especially your son, he has like a glow about him that I admire. You know, I'm just watching from my side, you know. But it's definitely roses that comes out of concrete. And that's what your kids are, right? Now I think it's amazing that you find hope in all of this because that's a big thing. Like to be this oppressed and still be able to say, you know what? They're gonna be my offspring, and I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. Like that's a big deal because, like in my case, it's quite the opposite. I pray that my son gets it. You know what I mean?
And he will, though.
Yeah. I pray that he gets it. But I have one more thing I wanted to touch bases with you on, and it was allies. How can allies best support you and achieve your goal? Like people that you might want to, share a message for or give a message to in your situation. How could they be of some sort of help to you?
I think that if you know somebody that knows anybody, because that's the toughest part is kicking doors down and getting somebody to hear you.
It's true. Because you kind of need, at this point, you need official support, like people who are assigned to fight for people in your case, right? So, if you want to share anything, the viewers, or because there's definitely going to be somebody out there that would see this and want to help. Would you give them some sort of information?
Yeah.
Even if you could leave the information with me and I'll put it up for you. But just so people to know, okay, how to reach you. You know what I mean?
I'm not on Facebook right now. I have deactivated my page just so I can get some clearer guidance on which direction, because not having a job right now, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, God, well, what is the next? Where are we going with this? What are we doing? So I need to focus on that right now. Like, what are my next steps where God is directed and leading me? So I've shut down social media for right now. But my email, Tangie Norris1 at gmail.com. And that's TANGIE NORRIS 1 at gmail.com.
Cool. Because I noticed that when I try to respond, I noticed I could not find you.
Really?
And I'm thinking, I said to myself, I know I'm friends with Tange, but I didn't think about that. That's absolutely what was happening, because you probably had almost a mental breakdown with that, what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a good thing, because I'm telling you, the media could be very judgmental, and they could be negative in the type of response. Even sometimes you didn't even tell your story there, but the energy on there be so not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes remove yourself from that.
And that's exactly what my daughter said a few years ago, because I was telling her about the podcast and stuff. Yeah. And so she said, and then I had told her, I said, I'm thinking about posting my story on, my page. And she said, Mom, she said, I support you 100%. She said, but I'm going to tell you something. She said, you might not be ready for what the public has to say or what they think about you. She said, and it's nothing that you can do, because that's their perspective.
That's God talking through it right there. That's their perspective. Because it's like you would have the purest of heart and intent. And you're innocent. But then you could find yourself questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Because you saying, is this really me? Because of the way the public would react to you.
Yes.
That could destroy you.
Yes.
And it takes a shot at your name. So the safest thing it seems to do is to discontinue the account and just go into a safe space. Mm-hmm. I do it all the time. I get out of here my work day, and I end up going upstairs. It's almost like an isolation that I don't really like isolation, but it almost seems like the only thing you can do to preserve your last bit of your strength. Right?
Yeah, and it's your peace.
It's your peace.
You're protected. Your peace at any and all costs. And when I got to a place of knowing what my peace was and knowing that I like it here, I am going to protect it at any cost. If that means cutting people off, if that means shutting their phone down, social media down, isolating myself from the outside world, from family, friends, all of that, that's what that looks like for me. And that's what I will do. Because when I found my peace, it was like, I love it here. Because you got to remember, all the years before have been chaotic. They've been rah, 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 rah. So when I finally found my peace, I was like, man, you start looking like, is this real? And it was. And I love it. I love it. So when it started getting too noisy for me, I'll shut it down. I will shut it down, because this is taken away from my peace.
Of course. Tangie, I want to say thank you so much for taking this time out of your day to come and sit with me. I am honored to even be a part of the journey with you. And I want to take this into a direction right now because I have to. I don't want you to leave here with nothing, right? This has got me through quite a bit, you know what I mean? So I have to share this with you, right? So Matthew 6 is really good because Matthew 6 just lets you know you're gonna be accused and perplexed, and they're gonna call you names. But it's a lot of blessing. It's a sacred place to be with God, and God honors it. It's the weirdest thing, right? So I'm gonna just share this with you before we close. We are going to release this, into the hands of God at this point. So let me see. So this thing has carried me through some time. I damn near would have tatted this on this whole scripture, right? It says Psalms 37. I'm a Psalms 37 baby, bro. Like for real. And I think my friend Tangie could say the same. You gotta be a Psalm 37 baby to weather this type of storm. And I'm gonna just share. Those of you who know Psalm 37, you know how powerful this is, right? Fret not, the Bible says, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither like the green herbs. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed, right? Delight thyself in the Lord also, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Commit your ways unto the Lord, trust in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Now, you could read the rest of that whole book. That book hits home for me, bro. And I have to share it with you, Tangie. I want you to, just continue to read it on the channel. This might be one of those books that will I'm talking about you. I don't tire of reading this. Like, I promise. I don't care what it is. When I face objection, I didn't even know Psalm 37 verbatim at this point, right? And I just believe that it's going to carry you, man. It's good. It's a good thing to remain hopeful because that's all we have sometimes. If not, the other side of that, it would be giving up, and that don't look good. It doesn't look good for you, the kids. So many people that you gotta live for, and it's still hard. I just pray that God hand continue to cover you and remain over your life. And I believe it's gonna be a powerful outcome to this. You know what I mean? Because this is not happening by chance. It can't be. Yeah. You got your name. This is in a system. You can't work. This is a lot. You know what I mean? So I commend you so much for being strong, and I'm also going to intercede. When these type of things happen, we just go into intercession quietly, like, Lord, please cover her. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes these are the things that carry you through, because sometimes you don't know why you just wake up with a strength.
Absolutely.
So I encourage that to the fullest. And I pray that someone watching will be moved to intercede on your behalf, and even reach out to you, by way of giving information. And we're gonna see this to a victory. We have to. Yeah. You know what I mean? So at this point, I just want to wrap the show up. I thank you guys for taking the time out once again to tap into the platform at the Pope Perspective. I am your host, Hash Boone. And my guest today is Tangie Grant, right? Yeah, and I appreciate you guys for your time. Until the next time, keep it P. All right? God bless.
Your Honor, I speak on behalf of the lost, on behalf of the low nigga trying to get a Porsche.